king at breakfast. The Moral Castle lay beneath an autumn sunshine. A light shone on the white stone of the castle's ivory-covered walls. It sent golden shafts through the tall windows. Captain Henry Carruthers, companion and aide to King Edward VII, marched along the red-carpeted corridors of the castle. He glanced through the windows. It was a beautiful day. He sighed. On a day like this, the king would be sure to insist that he went outside and did something healthy. Not ever energetic himself, His Majesty liked to keep his guests busy. He glanced up at the row of mounted stag heads that lined the walls. There were so many that he wondered if there was a living stag left to shoot in all of Scotland. He climbed a staircase and moved along an upper corridor, more red carpet, more stag heads, and knocked on one of the doors. A footman opened it, bowed respectfully, and led him through the richly furnished dressing room to the bedroom door in the far side. Throwing it open, the footman announced, "Captain Carruthers, Your Majesty." Then he bowed and withdrew. Carruthers entered the bedroom. The far side of the room, propped up on a pillow in the four-posted bed, was the large figure of the king. His vast form, draped in a silk dressing gown, rose beneath the silk sheets. His Majesty was breakfasting in bed. He chose from the range of dishes on the side table served to him by a footman. Carruthers bowed. "Good morning, Your Majesty." Swallowing a mouthful of eggs and bacon, the king waved his hand. "Morning, Harry. Splendid morning, eh?" "Yes, indeed, sir." The king passed his plate to the footman and wiped his mustache with a napkin. He sat up higher in his bed, ready for business. "Now then, what's the form?" Carruthers produced a list of engagements for the days ahead and read it out loud. Next day there would be a visit to a new factory in Edinburgh, followed by dinner with local officials in the same evening. Then a return to London and the welcoming of a group of ambassadors keen to present themselves to the new king. It was a pretty heavy list, but the king accepted it cheerfully enough. One thing you could say for the old boy, though, Carruthers, for all his fondness of good food, fine wine, and pretty ladies, his work never suffered. What's more, he actually enjoyed royal occasions. Perhaps it was because he waited for so long for them. Now that he was king at last, he was making the most of it. "But nothing today, eh?" said the king when Carruthers had finished. "Nothing, Your Majesty. As you requested, today has been left completely free." "Excellent. Not often I get a day off, and that means it's a day off for you too," the king considered. "Tell me what to do. Go down to the gun room and borrow one of those sporting rifles? Time you broke your duck 3 days of not a single stag? Go out and get yourself one. The country round here is full of them. Now isn't that a good idea?" "A splendid idea, sir." Of course it was. After all, it was the king's idea, and that's where all splendid. "Off you go then," said the king. "Nothing like an early start. Take one of my Prudleys. Why don't you? Damn fine guns. Been using them for years. Gave them my royal warrant back in 1868. An hour later, Henry Carruthers was striding through the woods that bordered Balmoral Castle. He changed his guard's uniform for comfortable threads, and he had a Prudley deer rifle tucked under one arm. He paused at the top of the little rise and gazed back at the castle, wondering if the king was up yet. Despite the sunshine, the morning air was crisp and chill. "All very well, sending me out for a nice healthy thwomp through the hills," throughout Carruthers. "He'll spend the morning by the fire with his big cigar and a large brandy and the Times." He frowned, looking back at the castle. Here on the hill it was still a fine autumn morning, but there seemed to be rain clouds over the castle itself. Freak Highland weather, thought Carruthers. as he turned to go on his way. It was odd though, all the same. Probably just a thick of light. Just for a moment he could have sworn it was raining upwards.